What is up, guys? Welcome to a new video. A lot has moved around this patch, so I thought it'd be a good time to basically look at the best stuff you can play in each lane, specifically for climbing. There are going to be loads of things that work, to be honest, right now, so I'll probably be doing individual role ranking videos, but let me know in the comments and like the video if you want me to do that next week. This is a video with pro guys as well, so thank you to them for helping to edit this video. There's a link in the description to check out their guides and other stuff if you want a little boost to climb. Timestamps are going to be down in the description for each role if you want to skip to anything, but AD carry is going to be out first. We're starting with Jhin. Jhin is number 2. This is potential wise, like he's very strong right now and there's a lot of damage plus utility to fall back on, but not everybody is going to click with Jhin like his playstyle. So if you don't, Caitlyn is a really good replacement here. AD carry in this season has been a bit of a joke, I know, but what we really want right now is some early damage, some good mid-game team fighting, utility to fall back on if we get hardcore camped, and some way to stay safe. In my opinion, Ghost Blade should be rushed on Jhin now every single game. It gives you mobility to survive, but a lot of damage again. Then you can either get like Infinity Edge and Rapid Fire Cannon, or Edge of Night actually, which is super good on him. You shield yourself and it's hard to dive onto him, or you just ult and you block the first crowd control that hits you. You do have good laning though. You have the W to catch people and set up ganks or fights. You're good with Malzahar or Zyra, which are the more aggressive supports right now. And mid game you have your ultimate, which really hurts. You can get picks, but even your autos are going to hurt more than others with the guaranteed crit. You are immobile and you're not amazing versus Rengar and Kha'Zix, who are everywhere at the moment, but you do have this high range with your ultimate, so you can stay back at least. One thing you might want to try, which I'll go into in another video, is skipping Doran's for a long sword and 3 potions. You have more healing in the lane phase, so you can sustain a bit more, and you have a quicker Ghost Blade. So number 1 is going to be Miss Fortune. There's absolutely no doubt she's a top AD right now and insanely good. Almost worth a ban if you're not going to play her. She was already strong with lethality items in the old state, but it's better now, which makes her even better. The ultimate and your Q really use AD and lethality still more than other champions. Your ultimate can easily do over 1,000 damage late game. Synergy with Malzahar and Zyra is amazing as well. You have this high impact from really far away. You don't need to get close in lane. Your Q bounces from out of range to do a ton of damage and it's hard to play against, but in team fights you press E, you press R, and you do a ton from out of range again. It's mainly Ghost Blade, Black Cleaver, and Edge of Night that is making her completely broken at the moment, plus just how easy she is to play. You press Q, you press R, that's really not difficult. One bad side is it's hard to hit a good ultimate with no crowd control in your team. It's possible, but it's harder, and unfortunately everyone's playing carry top laners and junglers right now. One thing you should try though is using your Q on minions to poke even without killing the minion first. It still does a lot of damage, and also when you're pushing, use your W and rotate autos onto new minions. Each new target hit reduces your W cooldown, and basically you'll have a permanent attack speed buff to push. The one to watch out for is going to be Varus though. Lethality with his Q max hurts a ton. It's very similar to Jhin, utility and a lot of long range damage. He is like the new pick at the moment and doing really well. If you get ahead, you can carry with this insane poke damage, but if you get behind, you can carry with your ultimate. So let's move on to the jungle. There was again a big shift here because of lethality, but that is honestly what we expected. Kha'Zix is number 2. He's a snowball jungler who is good at ganking firstly, which is really good. He scales well with the items though and still has a monster late game. Ghost Blade and Edge of Night are really good on him, plus Black Cleaver actually more of Mortius for kind of offense or mix of offense and defense. You have insane Q damage when isolated, even when not isolated honestly though, and your reset jumps. A lot of people don't really realize how good his Q actually is. It's 140% bonus AD ratio, which is crazy, along with the 50% increase from isolation damage and also a 60% cooldown refund. That is why even if he hasn't popped off early, he gets a few items and he's going to probably pop off anyway if given a chance. One of the problems with Kha'Zix at the moment is you're low health and an assassin though, so if you get too far behind or they group as 5, it gets hard to do things, especially if they have a lot of crowd control. One thing you might want to try is evolving your W though and using it to set up fights. So you jump to the side of a fight basically, you W to slow everybody and it lets your team catch up to start a fight. The number 1 jungler though who I would also recommend banning this patch is going to be Rengar. It's again the lethality buffs are making him even stronger and do even more damage, but honestly he doesn't even need lethality. That is the gross thing. He can go warrior, Ghost Blade, then more Mortius and Deadmans or tank, and he still one-shots people plus run out being immune to crowd control. Your ultimate makes it super easy to counter gank though, especially. That is a really big thing. If your lane's ever getting ganked, you can just press R and you're going to dive in and it's going to be great, but you can obviously set up ganks that way as well. You have really high impact and you're not very hard to play in my opinion. You're definitely the best jungler to carry games with at the moment. Edge of Night is really good on him. The spell shield to jump into a fight. You blocks the first crowd control, then you're immune afterwards, which is pretty ridiculous. If they do group as 5 though, it gets a bit harder as with all assassins honestly, but Edge of Night kind of makes that a bit easier. If you get ahead in a game, try Duskblade with Edge of Night for a stupid amount of damage, also with the spell shield when you jump into a fight to start with. It's really good. My one to watch out for in the jungle though is actually Jarvan. His AD scalings are really good and he works with lethality really well actually. He can also go semi-tank like Rengar and still ruin everybody after those first few damage items, but he's definitely underrated and he might pop up more this patch at least because I do think he's better. Let's move on to support. So I'm actually putting you third this video, which I don't normally do, but Soraka is number 2, and the first reason is because she's good versus Malzahar. That is sadly a big plus at the moment. You can use your Q to cancel off his passive spell shield. You can also use your silence to cancel his ultimate instantly. She is good anyway though. She can heal through most poke, decent versus Misfortune for the same exact reasons. The silence field is ridiculous. You can instant cancel Malzahar, Misfortune, Jhin. It also means when Rengar and Kha'Zix jump into a fight, they cannot cast any spells and do anything. You basically provide a free lane for the AD carry. You have synergy with Redemption and the new Ardent Censer, which is great for late game, and your ultimate even kind of help your team if they're falling behind a little bit in the lane phase. The thing is, it's really not about going aggressive or ganking for a Soraka lane. You basically pick her so it's impossible to lose that lane. If you're going to play it after this video, try the buffed Ardent Censer item. It's really good. It's underrated, but it helps a lot in team fights, especially because your W is such a low cooldown. You can have it active 100% of the time on the AD carry or on multiple people. So number 1 is going to be Malzahar. He's the best aggressive support you can play at the moment by far. You 1v1 the enemy AD carry even early and later, which just shouldn't happen. You're also very good to gank for though, or to combo with. You press R and like Misfortune can ultimate, Jhin can ultimate, or they can gank very easily. Your damage with Rylai's is really good. It's a lot cheaper as well. You're actually a threat as well as a crowd control machine, which is kind of crazy. Plus you have a silence. But that silence can be really annoying. It's a good counter to assassins with that and your ultimate together. You're amazing in the lane phase and in team fights. The only bad side to Malzahar really is you're pretty squishy early, and you can actually get abused if you step too far forward if they remove that passive shield from you. One thing you should try doing more though is hit a silence before flashing forward to ultimate. It guarantees they can't flash away or cast anything before you manage to press R, so you're not going to waste your flash. My support to watch out for is actually going to be Lulu though. She got a few buffs this patch, plus the buffed Ardent Censer, which is very strong on her. Basically, she already has bonus damage with picks on hit and now has a ton more with Ardent Censer. It's really good together. I think she's actually top tier team fighting wise at least. Give her like an auto attacking AD carry like Twitch or Caitlyn or Jinx, and they can easily 2v5 a game. No joke. Right, so let's move on to mid lane. It's very versatile at the moment. There are loads of good picks, but I had to try and narrow it down to 2 for this video, honestly, which is pretty hard this patch. Corki is going to be my number 2, but I had Orianna, Ahri, Lux, and Katarina to start here as well. Even Ryze. Corki beat the others though, in my mind at least, because he's got insane burst damage and poke, a monster early to mid game, which is where most games I think are actually decided, at least at lower elo. Your package roams are a very big thing though. It helps to screw bot lane pretty hard, which is great, right? And that thing does so much damage, like as much as a Rumble ultimate almost, and you really can't run through it to get away. You have a good mix of damage, which means tanks can't really stand up to you mid game. They can't get enough magic resist and armor to counter both sides of the damage. That actually makes you really well rounded. Like, you're a burst champion, you're good in lane, you have good poke, you're good at shredding tanks early, all squishy laners. Also, Mortimer Mortius is amazing on you, which makes playing versus AP really good. This, by the way, is the new OP thing, new fad, I guess, in Korea at the moment. It's played in almost 25% of games, which is ridiculous for mid lane. Apto beasted it recently with Corki, and now everybody is doing it. The only bad side to Corki really is you fall off late game. Your mixed damage sucks because you can't build a Void Staff and Last Whisper, basically. If you're going to play Corki though, try Trinity Force, Mortimer Mortius, Rapid Fire Cannon, Infinity Edge with Sork, Stun Lords, and Exhaust. You are a monster 1v1 with that build. The number 1 spot though is going to be LeBlanc. She has very high damage and outplay potential, decent wave clear with a passive, which means actually she can roam a lot easier because you push first and then you have a free roam. It's really good to play an easy game or have an easy game structured in your mind. You win lane, you kill your opponent, you get some CS, you push, and then you win the other lanes as well. It's very simple how you play her. She's not even that bad late game anymore either. She can burst people 100 to 0 later as well as early, which makes her a threat that doesn't fall off like last season before the rework. The biggest downside to LeBlanc that you have to play around or you are going to lose is you're super low health. You get clipped with any sort of crowd control or damage early and you're going to be out of a fight and useless. One thing to try, I don't see many people doing, is double chain when a gank is coming to completely lock them in place and make it very easy for your jungler to follow up. One to watch out for is Talon for top and mid actually. He kind of came out of nowhere, but lethality buffs have helped him a lot. He's one of the best assassins at the moment easily. He has high win rates in every region, both top and mid. He does a lot of damage, but he also does this kind of like screw the bot lane really well meta by roaming down and diving over walls. They're just like mid lane actually. There are a lot of good top lane champions that can do well in solo queue at the moment, but I picked one carry tank and one carry damage champion. So the tank is Nautilus. He has very high base damage, which lets him kill stuff, but his crowd control is through the roof. I think he's actually better this patch than before. Even with the courage nerfs, assassins and immobile champions are everywhere, and you are like the ultimate counter. You're super easy to play as well. You press E to wave clear, you poke, you Q to engage, you R on a priority target. That's all you have to do. AD carries will really struggle to kill you, so you can carry with some damage and being too tanky. The bad side though is you are still just a tank tank really. With a completely brain dead team, you are going to struggle to win a little bit. One thing to try on Nautilus, which is actually pretty cool, is if you're out of range of your ultimate, you can hook forward onto terrain to get closer and are a target if you really want to force fights, but just make sure you group through mid game with Nautilus. The number 1 top lane champion then is going to be Jace. Lethality buffs, and he has an insane amount of damage anyway. It means he's actually even better at the moment. His poke is obviously very good, that's what Jace is known for, but it's actually his jumping combo at the moment that is wrecking people. You press W in range form, you switch to hammer, you use Q, then 3 quick autos to burst him down. He actually has a really good mid to late game now because of that combo, which means he can hard carry even better than he used to be able to. He's very strong in lane, the range side really helps with that. He's hard to play against, but I think it's actually easy to do well with him at the moment, which is a really good combination. Hard to play versus, but easy to play. The bad side is you have no crowd control really, and you're not a frontline champion, so in team fights, if your jungler is an assassin as well, your team fight is probably going to suffer eventually if it goes late enough. The thing you really want to try though on Jace is perfecting that burst combo. That is the secret to winning games as Jace right now, honestly. You jump in, you burst. The one to watch out for is going to be Gangplank, though he's much better this patch, and I think he can really do some damage now. You're crap early still, honestly, but games are going longer, and Ghost Spade is a bit better on him as well, which helps. He's really good mid to late game though. If you are actually good with him, he can hard carry a game completely by himself. So I hope you guys enjoyed this quick rundown of these 7.2 meta and what champions are really good and stuff like that. Remember to check out pro guides, but for now, let's go to the robots.